welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna talk to you about some little tips that might be useful if you wanna come visit London. So let's get started. So I asked you on Instagram because I have a lot of ideas on London videos I want to film and you wanted to see little tips. So here we are. I'm going to tell you about some of the tips that I think might be useful when you come to visit London. I have to say that right now it's the end of March and I'm filming this thinking of when things start opening again, hoping that everything is gonna get back to how it used to be. Hi there, super quick. I'm editing this video. It's 1st October today. I hope I'm gonna post this really soon, and as I said, I filmed this video in March hoping for things to change. Things have been pretty difficult to come travel to the UK for the summer, but finally they're starting to ease a tiny bit. From 4th October, this Monday, next Monday, past Monday, I don't know, depending when you're seeing this video, but 4th October they're taking out one of the tests. So if you're vaccinated and coming from a green country, you only need to get a test once you arrive in the UK. They are not deleting that because that's what gives them money. You need to pay for a day 2 test, which is actually a PCR. It's always going to be a PCR, which is a little bit expensive. If you go on site, you can find things for £20. But we got it sent home and I think we paid around £40 each test. So yeah, they're not taking that out, but you don't need to quarantine and it's a tiny bit easier to come. And also late October, I'm not sure when, but they're gonna let you take an antigen test instead of a PCR once you arrive in the UK, which is gonna make it easier and cheaper. But that's all I know. I haven't been like really digging into it because it's not something I'm interested in right now. Like I don't really need to travel anywhere for a while, so I don't know, but hopefully by the end of the year it's also gonna be easier and we're gonna be able to travel to the UK back and forth without having to pay a lot of money. So yeah, some of the things that I'm saying, I'm not sure if they are back to normal or not, because as you know, we're not living in London anymore, but still the video was filmed and I wanted to share it with you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. So I also want to say that there's going to be some tips that might be really simple and not really important, but that might be helpful to know for some people that might need them. But with that said, let's start. First thing I want to talk to you is about the airport and transportation. First thing you're going to need to do if you come to visit London, apart from getting a place to stay, which I totally recommend Airbnb, definitely. Okay, I wasn't planning of talking about this and I'm already getting out of script, but if you come on a budget, I totally recommend you to either go on an Airbnb or on a hostel. There's tons of hostels in London and really centric ones, so you can definitely go for that if you want to. And if you're not into that mood and you don't really want to be in a hostel, I totally recommend you Airbnb. If you're coming on holidays, I totally recommend you to stay between zone 2 and maybe not get to zone 1 because that's going to be more expensive. I'm actually going to try to link the places I've stayed when my parents have come to visit, and the Airbnb was really cool and it was right next to King's Cross station, so it's really easy to find places. Definitely check Airbnb and also be aware that you're going to be using the tube and the bus and the public transport a lot, so it's going to be really easy to move around even though you might be a little bit farther from the city center, so you definitely not need to be right in Oxford Street to say it somehow. Just check a little bit. There's gonna be buses for sure around because the public transport here is amazing. There's buses absolutely everywhere and all the time. But if you're not sure you're gonna be using the bus, check that there's a station kind of close so you can always get to the tube fast to move around. That's my tip. Get to an Airbnb or a place that is not exactly at the center of London, but does have a station really close that you can get access to. Okay, my first tip was meant to be how to get from the airport to London, because all the airports are far. Like you're gonna need to spend at least half an hour to an hour to get to the city, that's for sure. Most likely you're gonna be traveling to Gatwick, Stansted or Heathrow. These are the three that I would say it's most likely you're going to be traveling to, which I'm going to say here, I even recommend, like, if you can, go to Gatwick, it's easier, and go with Welling. Might have some hate here, but I had so much trouble these past years with Ryanair that I really don't want to recommend them. Even though they're cheap, it's not worth. And you're going to need to pay extra for the luggage, and there might be problems, I don't know. I know it's the go-to most times, but if you can, Welling and Gatwick is a really nice airport too. I would rather go there if I could pick. If you go to Heathrow, it's really easy because Piccadilly line is going to Heathrow. And then if you're coming from Stansted, There's two options here too. There's the Sunset Express, which is a little bit more pricey, and by pricey I mean maybe 15 to 20 pounds one way, and it's about half an hour, 45 minutes. And if you are on a budget, there's National Express. National Express is the bus that takes you from Sunset to the city center. I would usually go with National Express. Maybe you pay 14, 16, 18 for the return ticket, maybe 20. Not more than that probably. It takes about probably an hour and a half. If we're not in a hurry, we always go with bus. There's tons of options, so totally recommend it. But then I discovered EasyBus. It gives you extremely cheap prices. I went for £2 to the airport, so it's crazy cheap. I don't know, probably now it's not the same, but when things start getting back to normal, it's probably gonna start getting to the same point. So at least check it out. If you're flying to Gatwick, there's also trains. You should check for the platforms, any train that goes to London Bridge or to Victoria, and you just go there straight. Like, don't go to the Gatwick Express, just go to a normal train. I think it's around 11 pounds one way. That's what I've learned from all my traveling to the airports, so I hope it's helpful. Now let's move on to the other top part here, which is transport, how to pay for transport. And then we're gonna move to more entertainment things. The best way to move around London is with an Oyster card. And an Oyster card is basically a top-up card. You pay £5 to get the card, but then when you leave you can return the card and get those £5 back. And then there's another thing that it's a 7-day travel card. What happens here is that after 3 or 4 times using it, it tops up. So for example, in a day, if you're taking the tube, you cannot spend more than £7.40. So once you reach £7.40, it's gonna stop. That's how much you're gonna spend in a day. Don't get tricked into buying a tourist card at the airport. Yeah, you pay £40 and you can travel anytime, anywhere, but that's a ripoff, because if you're only staying there for 3 days, it's not worth to pay a travel card of £40 because you're not gonna use that much. How to move around? First thing, you can use Citymapper to check on which stations you need to get to. I don't use it honestly, but Morten uses it a lot and told me to recommend it to you, so here's Citymapper that you can use. I also use Maps, the Maps from Apple, a lot, and that works perfect for me. You can pay with credit card, but the thing is that when you pay with a credit card that it's not from the UK, you get charged extra. So you're not gonna see it right away, you're gonna get charged the normal price, but then after a period they're gonna charge you like a tax for having been using that card. You can use Revolut, which I've been using a lot to transfer money from euros to pounds, instead of going to the bank and changing cash or things like that. You don't really need to do that. First of all, you can pay everywhere with your credit card. I'm talking about restaurants and souvenirs and things like that. You can pay with your credit card. When it comes to the transport, be careful because they do charge an extra thing. But for the rest, if you get a Revolut card, you can put just euros in there, transfer them to pounds, and then pay with that English account that you have created into Revolut. And if you want to know more about this, text me on Instagram. I can explain anything you want to know anytime, even if you're watching this video 4 months later. Don't hesitate, just go there and ask me. Those were the things that took more time to explain because are more complex. And now we're going to move to some other tips. When it comes to food, I've talked about it a little bit on my past videos. I have 2 guides on London that I'm going to link up here in case you want to check them. But basically, there's a lot of cheap places to go eat. I'm comparing it a lot to Spain. So if you go to Spain, the chains that you're gonna go for fast food are probably gonna be McDonald's, Burger King, maybe KFC. There's not that many options, but here in London and in the UK in general, there's tons of places like this. Most places have vegan options, vegetarian options, and healthy options. So you have bread. There's Nando's, which I haven't been to. Savi fried chicken is just amazing. Totally recommend that. Bella Italia, Papiano, Five Guys. I know that Five Guys is mostly everywhere now, but if you haven't been to a Five Guys, just go. The cheese fries. If you go to Shake Shack, please order the cheese fries. Okay, that's it for restaurants. I don't want to talk more about it. And now another thing that I want to say here, that it's kind of food related, is coffee. At least in Spain, most places charge you a lot extra for vegan milks. Even in Denmark, it was pretty difficult to find places that had vegan milks. Good news is that it doesn't happen here in the UK. Soya and oat are free in almost everywhere. I would say everywhere I've been to, And I've seen that Starbucks stopped charging extra for coconut and hazelnut milk and things like that, but I'm not completely sure, it's just like a thing I've read. I want to say that you might know now, but I love coconut lattes, and you can find coconut lattes in Cafe Nero, Coco di Mama, and bread. And another thing is that you can always, anywhere, ask for tap water, even if it's on a coffee shop. Just so you know, because in Spain it's not that usual to get tap water when you go to a restaurant. So little tip here, always ask for tap water so you don't need to pay for your drinks. Another little tip is go to museums. Almost all of them are free. And examples, I have some examples here of museums that are free to enter. It's the British Museum, National Gallery, Tate Modern, Natural History Museum, Imperial War, Victoria and Albert, and I'm gonna link down below a list of all the free museums that there are in London. I'm talking really fast, I'm sorry if you don't understand me, but it's just like I've been filming for way too long and it's gonna be a super long video, so I wanna be fast. There's cinemas, and I wanna talk to you about this in another video, so let me know if you wanna know about cinemas, because there's different cinemas I like. There's a vintage one that I love, and prices and things like that and how it works, so let me know if you want to know that. When people come to London, most times they want to see a musical and they are expensive, so here's the tip: use an app called Today Tix. So Today Tix gives you really good prices for musicals. It's obviously not gonna be all of them. For example, if there's a super famous new one, it's most likely not even gonna be in the app. But if you don't mind which musical you're coming to see, or if you wanna watch an old one, it's most likely gonna have a better price on Today Tix. Next day tickets, for example, you check 1 or 2 days before for the show that you're interested in, and you're most likely gonna find really good price tickets. Most times you're not gonna be at the best spot, you're gonna be farther behind or in one side, so be careful and check where you're sitting. And if you don't want to use the app, another thing that I would recommend is to go to the musical itself. Like if you want to see this specific musical at 7:30 this day, like today, just go to the... I need to drink something. If you want to see a musical the same day at 7:30, just go to the place itself. In the morning, as soon as they open, 9-10 a.m, I'm not sure what time they open, just go to the door and ask if they have same day tickets. Most times they're gonna have tickets for better price. We did that with my best friend last musical we went to see, which was Jamie? How was it called? I don't remember well. This one. We arrived here in the morning, first thing we did was go to the musical. We got them for cheaper than they usually would cost, and we went the same day at night to see the show. I actually went to see this show with these two amazing actors, and I couldn't use the app, it wasn't working, I don't know why, so I just went to the theater in the morning, like 10 a.m. I asked for tickets and they told me they had the same price, so I went to see them for £25. Another thing is to check if they have events that might be interesting to you. We went to a festival in September or October, I don't remember, that was called like Oriental Festival or something like that, which was really cool. It was in Trafalgar Square. They have a lot of events in Trafalgar Square. If you know which time you're coming, or if you are not sure when to come, you can always check if there's something interesting to you that might be happening the days you're here, so you can take advantage of that and visit something different. So for example, if you're coming during the winter, make sure you're coming when Winter Wonderland is on. Or if you're coming in summer, check the dates. Actually, the Underbelly Festival that I talked to you about in the last video, that's from April to September. If you are into Comic Cons and things like that, totally recommend you to check for that. They're usually in March and October. If it's not the first time you're coming and you want something different to see, check on these kind of things because it's really nice. And last thing I want to say is be aware that there's a lot of shows in the streets, there's a lot of street art, people drawing on the streets, people dancing, shows. In Covent Garden there's always an area where there's always a show happening and people singing inside. If you can, please support the artists. I think I'm gonna finish the video here. I've been talking for way longer than I expected. If you want to know more things, if you want me to talk about more tips that might come to mind, or if there's anything special that you would like to know, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to check up here where the eye thing, or if you go up here with your mouse, you're gonna see the videos that I've been mentioning, the two other guides about London places and my favorite places in London, so you can go check that out too. And with that said, remember to follow me on Instagram because I'm posting a lot of things there every day on stories about what's going on. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. I'm done!
I'm done.
I need to drink 4 liters of water, my throat is so dry. I've been talking for 2 hours. I'm gonna hate editing these videos, they're gonna be so long.